Hello and welcome to Brutally Honest Talk Radio. This is a special election edition, special episode of Brutally Honest Talk Radio with me, your co-host, Elmo the Conservative, and also we have the main person, the podcast queen, Inger. Inger, what's going on today?
Hi, how are you doing? It was a long night last night. I happened to go to an election party. And we didn't wind up probably close until 10:30 or 11, then had to drive back home. So it was a long night. The person I was going to eat,
Let me guess. At the election party, did they lick shots every time Stacey Abrams said, "Good old boy"?
Right. During the debate.
Everybody would have been calling an Uber.
Right. Right. Exactly. For this one, though, it was a friend and she won. So yay. So it was a good time. A good time was had by all.
Oh, you went to the house of one of the people that was running?
Yeah, it was actually at a restaurant. Yep.
Okay.
It was a local election. She was at a restaurant and it was fun. I had a chance to see a lot of people and talk, and I was talking politics. So yeah.
That turned out to be a great party for her.
It did. It was a good day, a very good day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah, right now I'm just I'm looking online, and some things are undecided. By the time people may hear this, things may be more decided and finalized. But one thing that's undecided is who's controlling the Senate. At this moment, there are 48 seats owned by Democrats. Republicans have 48 seats, and it says 51 needed for a majority. So that is obviously very close, as opposed to the House, where the Republicans are closer to 218 with 210, and Democrats at 191.
Okay, gotcha. So there's more contention, let's say, for the Senate races right now as opposed to the House races, and one because there are so many House seats. You know, it's just a lot of people. So it's a lot to keep up with.
It's just much closer with the Senate, similar to one of the only elections that a Republican did not win for sure, which is what I care most about, Georgia, which Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker, last I heard, both had 49%, or one had 49, one had 48. And it's safe to say at this point there's going to be a runoff between the two of them.
Very safe to say. And it was a horse race all night. Interestingly enough, Fulton County was one of the first counties to come in for Warnock, as we were watching that one as well. Excuse me. We were watching that as well. And early on, it looked like Warnock was going to overtake Senate. It looked like Warnock was going to overtake Walker for the Senate race. But as time went on, we had more counties outside of the metro areas in Georgia that started reporting, sending in the results and that sort of thing. And so as of now, with all precincts reporting, and I think, they haven't included absentee or provisional ballots in this count, but it is Herschel Walker who has 48.52%, and Raphael Warnock who has 49.42%. So I don't know if people know this or not, but Georgia is one of those states where you have to get 50 plus 1. So because neither one of them made it to 50%, there's going to be a runoff, similar to what it was at for the Purdue and Loeffler race. So we're going to have about 6 more weeks of political ads, and that's how that's going to go.
Oh, boy. It's going to be Christmas season, man. That's going to go way past Thanksgiving.
Yes, we're going to blow past Thanksgiving, and we're going to be voting. I want to say, I think it's December 6th, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, for the runoff election.
Yeah, for the runoff. So people will be into the holiday swing by then. So, but we'll need to get out and vote again if we want to see Walker in the Senate.
Now, I don't know if you saw the commercial for Raphael Warnock where there was this white family at home having Thanksgiving dinner, and then Warnock walks into the dining room with a casserole dish and 2 pot holders. And he said, if you don't want me to interrupt your Thanksgiving, you're going to have to get out and vote. And then he sits in between this older couple and they're both looking at him like they know him, like he's just
Yeah,
one of their neighbors.
of course.
So now he's gonna have to come back and do a commercial in December where he comes in and he's got a Santa Claus sack over his shoulder, or he's wearing the red hat.
Right.
Or maybe he'll come down the chimney,
Right. Yeah, really. Saying,
If you don't want a
let me
piece of
interrupt
coal in your
Christmas."
stocking,
Right.
you better vote for me.
Exactly. So, yeah. So this is going to be interesting. From what I understand, though, they spent I want to say about $80 million. The Democrats did, and all their tentacles spent about $80 million for him to get into a runoff.
That's half of Warnock's collection played in church on Sunday.
Right. Or, from the people, he needs to get that from the people that rent from him in that tower that there have been a lot of complaints about. Yeah, there have been a lot of complaints about him and how the conditions are, and that he's going after people for $125 and evicting them. And I think they said some of the staff there, one guy murdered his girlfriend and he's on staff there. I think he murdered the girlfriend at the building, if I'm not mistaken. So
does he still work there, or has he been locked up?
I think he still works there, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Yeah. So
let me guess, the girlfriend is buried under the building.
Probably by now. Okay. What else? I don't know. I think there's been some thefts there or something, but it's not. I'll have to look it up and that sort of thing. But I think there have definitely been some issues over at Warnock's building. And he'll say, well, I don't own the building. That's, it's part of the church. It's the church's property or something to that effect. But from what I understand, he owns, or the church, however you want to do it, owns 99% of it. And Columbia Properties Group, they own 1%. So, that's what's going on with that. So, some of this stuff needs to come out while he's being a pastor. I use air quotes for that. While he's calling himself pastor. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I mean, I guess it can be done. But the person, they need to know very much what they believe. To be a pastor and then also be a politician, it's just very hard to do with the way that campaigning is. And you have to really push your religion or your God or your belief to the side, because you're trying to appeal to all the masses, atheists and all. So it's just a conflict to be able to do that, I think.
Well, the thing is, if you're a pastor and, it said, let God handle it and everything will work out for the good and that sort of thing, you shouldn't have to push that aside. And it shouldn't be an either or. If you are truly a pastor and you're trying to lead people to the body of, in the body of Christ and to Christ, then you'll go ahead and put your belief in God and Jesus and the whole 9 yards. You'll put that front and center. This is what I believe. Take me or leave me.
Right, but that's not Warnock's number one right now.
It's not.
It's to get elected. And well, first of all, you can do both. There's a contingency and understanding that if you are a Christian, that you make God the Lord of your life in whatever you do.
Absolutely.
And whatever you do, because otherwise you're serving two masters, or you're making God secondary, which is not good. God said, if you come to me, if you make me your Lord, I gotta be number one for you.
Exactly. And, folks don't, or I hope, I don't know, but I think folks should have a higher expectation of pastors, and they should expect that from pastors.
Oh, yeah.
And then when people don't get it from pastors, I would hope that is a problem. But here, like you said, Warnock he's trying to be all things to all people, and he's nothing to nobody. So, or that's what's going to end up happening. He's going to be nothing to nobody. So, he's got what is that verse? Choose this day who you'll serve. Something to that effect.
This day, meaning now, not tomorrow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's what's going on in Georgia. We got rid of Abrams, the previous
Yeah.
Georgia governor, according to her. So she
Right.
finally conceded after being Georgia governor for 4 years. She finally conceded. So we have Kemp
Yeah, I'm
for
glad
the
about
next 4
that.
years. Glad about that. And all of our constitutional offices, Secretary of State, Attorney General, Agriculture Commissioner, School Superintendent, Labor Commissioner, all that went Republican. So we are all
Mhm.
red in Georgia. And I
Yeah.
believe that our General Assembly has stayed red, as a matter of fact. So our next step, that's good for us. Our next steps are to make sure we stay in these representatives' faces, senators and representatives' faces, to make sure that they're not being squirrely and squishy about what we need to have done in being conservative. So
Yeah.
in Georgia, we did good. I hear Florida did really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, but we just because we have it this way doesn't mean we can rest on our laurels. We still have to make sure that
Mhm.
our schools aren't teaching critical race theory, that
Yeah.
we don't have drag queen story hour in the schools, that they're not pushing gender reassignment. So we still have work to do,
Oh boy.
but we're in a better position than most.
Yeah, some crazy stuff going on out there that people are pushing for. I haven't heard much from the squad or AOC, because she's one of those forebearers and front runners for crazy stuff. Would want to get rid of farting cows and getting rid
Right.
of airplanes. She wants to get rid of
Yeah. Yeah.
airplanes.
Yeah.
Just the ones that burn jet fuel. The
Just
electric
those. Yeah.
airplanes.
Not all of them.
Yeah. So Wonder Woman is cool with her plane. The rest of us, we'll be walking and going to Hertz.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, she's been quiet. I think for New York, Kathy Hochul
Yeah.
won her race I don't know how decisive, but pretty decisively. I mean, I think it was definitely over 50%.
Mhm.
And over Lee Zeldin. And she was the one who was wondering why people were concerned about crime. So, but yeah, they reelected her. So apparently they like it. They like what's going on up there, and
Yeah.
they need to sit with it and stew in it. I mean, this is the same
Right.
state, they're okay with illegal aliens voting in local elections. They are okay if they become a sanctuary city, sanctuary state. So okay, that's what
Y'all keep
just
that up
don't
there. Right.
exactly keep it up there. Don't move. So they're happy with that. So okay. And not my problem, not my monkey, not my circus. So
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Which speaks to the brilliant idea and the greatness of this country having 50 states and so many different forms of government, really, because there's no way, even if everyone in the country is either conservative or liberal, you would never going to please everyone.
Right.
And you have some people that are very extreme, where to be moderate isn't enough or isn't good enough. And New York and California, those are a couple of states that are extreme.
Yes.
And fortunately people can easily move. They can easily move if they want to live in a place that's more representative of how they feel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the folks that it's time, I don't know what people are missing, but you need to connect the conditions you're living under with your vote. Whatever you vote for, that's what you're going to get. If you're having, like you pointed out, if it doesn't match your values, then maybe it's time to get up and leave. If you don't want to stand there and fight and, try to turn things around. If you don't, then time to go. And like I said, we are blessed that we are 50 different labs, and that we need to go back to being 50 different labs, even more so. I think this is a step in the direction of taking federal power kind of away, or power away from the federal government, and returning it back to the states. Hopefully this is a step in that direction by the vote last night. And I say that because red states like Georgia, Florida, and other places, they either got redder or remained red. And then blue states like New York, and I don't know, I think California had something going on too, or had an election too. So they got bluer. So folks
Yeah.
are kind of digging their heels in, and this is where we are. So I'm thankful that we don't have to deal with with California or New York's issues and how they want to be, that we can do our own thing. But again, holding these elected representatives, elected officials accountable.
Now, I thought I saw Carrie Lake giving an acceptance speech, coming out in front of a crowd, greeting people after the election. So it's been a lot, just been catching a lot of different stories and things on my phone. So
Yeah.
it looks like even though that process where it's been certified may have not happened yet, it looked like she was so close that she felt comfortable giving an acceptance speech and thanking people. And it was kind of a rally, a post-election rally in Arizona.
Well, from what I understand, and I'm looking at, and let me tell people this, let me back up for 1 second. When they're trying to find election results, don't listen to the press, please. Go to each of these states' Secretary of State's websites. And on election night, the banner headline will be election results here. So for those places that you're interested in, go to the Secretary of State websites and get the results from there. Don't listen to the press about, oh my gosh, we're calling this state for whoever when the polls are still open. Don't listen to oh no, they can't do it. It's not going to happen. Don't.
Heads or tails.
Go to the source.
Call it in the air.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. Go to the source, which means the Secretary of State website, and look for yourself. And right now I'm on the Arizona Secretary of State website, and Carrie Lake, and Carrie Lake is obviously the Republican. Katie Hobbs was a Democrat. Not sure who was the incumbent. I'm assuming Katie was the incumbent or whatever. But as it stands, Katie Hobbs is only leading by 8,068 votes.
Wow.
So
that's real close.
Yeah, and for the state of Arizona. So it's a tight one. It is a very tight one. Something to that effect. If it were in Georgia, Carrie Lake could easily call for a recall or recount to see what the deal is. But I think there's still some things going on. I'm sure there's some more ballots coming in. They're counting, maybe they're counting absentee, all that sort of stuff. They have to certify. They got to go through all that. So I don't think Carrie Lake is conceding yet, because it is absolutely very close. And from what I understand, in Maricopa County, there were some vote machine tabulation issues or something like that. And that was going on, I want to say, early in the day. And I think somebody went to a judge and tried to have the hours extended because of those issues and all that sort of stuff. I think the judge said no. So there's still a lot of things going on in Arizona. And it's definitely not over for Carrie Lake. Let's put it that way. I think she's going to fight it. And as for recount, I would.
Like I was saying, I didn't hear the audio or catch the whole story. It's just in passing that she was coming out, and it looked like it was after the election. Understand it wasn't official. So but that's cool. It's better to do that than to do like Hillary and just totally disappear when they weren't even finished counting the votes.
Right. Yes.
I got 80 million people supporting me and looking for me, and I'm nowhere to be found.
Exactly, because I'm just being a brat and not being an adult. Interesting enough, in Arizona, there's an attorney general race there, and both the Democrat and Republican candidates are both at 50%. And the Democrat only leads by 47 votes.
47. Wow.
And folks probably ask, why is the attorney general a big deal? Well, the attorney general can fend off the federal government when they're trying to come into the state, do things, or there are lawsuits that the federal government is trying to impose on us. Or there could be lawsuits from within that people, different cities and counties or whatever, are trying to stir things up. Well, the attorney general can kind of stop that at the pass. So that's why it's important for that attorney general. That's why the attorney general spot is important as well. But I thought it was interesting that it's only a 47 vote difference
Yeah,
between the two of them. So there's hope for Arizona.
that's a phenomenon.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. I thought you was going to say only 4,700.
Not right. Right. And this is out of 1.8 million votes cast.
That's
So,
a couple of elementary classrooms.
exactly.
47. That's a
Exactly.
small number, you know.
That is a very small number out of 1.8 million. So, yeah,
I
it's
gotta
never a
say,
dull moment.
I
Uh-huh.
gotta say, the election in Pennsylvania for Senate between John Fetterman and Dr. Oz, and Fetterman
Hmm.
won.
Yes.
Fetterman, he got votes more than Oz to where they're saying that he's the winner now. That is amazing. Looking at how he was debating and campaigning over the last few weeks, where people know that he recently had a stroke, and he's
Yes.
standing on stage next to Oz, and he's asked a question, and when he's asked, he looks down for 5 to 10 seconds in silence because he can't make his brain work to think of what to say.
Exactly.
And people,
Mhm.
people still voted for him.
Yes, they
It's
did.
I can't, I would have to walk the streets of Pennsylvania and talk to a few people and ask them why to begin to understand. I have no idea. And
Well,
Oz is fast, he's sharp, he knows what he believes. I think he's older than Fetterman, much older, and just hitting his points, and is obviously more famous nationwide,
yeah.
you know. And
Yeah.
and so that's got to be my biggest surprise so far.
Yeah. It's and now you'll have a bigger one, I promise you, in a minute. When I relate this story. But yeah, Oz wasn't he wasn't hardcore conservative. He was kind of mushy middle, if you would, but he was still calling himself a Republican, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
Um, so he wasn't the best candidate that I thought they could have put up. But for them to elect John Fetterman, who has legitimately done nothing. I mean, he's been living off his parents for easily almost 50 years, if not
Wow.
long, well, 50 years, because I think he's 52, 53. So he's been living off his parents for that long. He was the mayor of a town in Pennsylvania in 2013. And as when he was mayor, he stuck a gun in the chest of a black guy over something, but he put a gun to his chest and that
Wow, I
sort of
didn't
thing
know
in
that.
2013. I think it's even more astounding that he was the lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania. How did this guy even get to lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And I
All I
see,
can all I can think of, all I can figure is maybe his persona, and he looks like a tough guy, with his voice and the goatee, and the way that he looks, and that connected with steel workers and other tough people and scrappy people. That's all I can figure. You know.
yeah. Well, and I have the notice. Let me just do this right quick. I have the notice says less than 1 minute. Do you see that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All
I was
right.
gonna
Do you
tell
want to?
you, but you see it too.
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to try another one? And we'll start over at the Pennsylvania one if you want to. Do you want to start another one? Because I don't know if it's still
Yeah.
going to go forward or what.
No, it's gonna run out. It's giving us the option to
Okay.
upgrade, and that's it.
Uh,